Green Cooling scores with the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show.
Well, Steve, it's that time of the week again.
It certainly is, Parky.
And I tell you what, we're here for the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show. I can hear myself now, that's really good. I've been having this problem with my hearing over recent days.
Sorry?
So yeah. What? Yeah. Some people had said that's a blessing in disguise. But anyway, we are here at the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show, and we've got a packed show as ever this evening. So we're going to be talking in the next few minutes all about the goings on in the North West Men's League. I ventured out to a certain midweek game that took place on Tuesday night between Ashton Bears and Haresfinch. Now, this was the second of 3 home games in quick succession for Ashton Bears. Would they be the team that was going to upset the apple cart and dent the chances of Haresfinch? Haresfinch that up until this point had been unbeaten. Well, we'll find out. We've also got an interview with a star player from that game as well, who scored a hat-trick of tries, and we've got some winning reaction as well. We'll also have a catch-up with what's going on in the Yorkshire Men's League as well. But first of all, Steve, it wasn't the busiest of weekends up in Cumbria, was it?
Yes, Parky. Let's go to the Holman Ixon Cumberland League, and Cockermouth Titans again showed their potential with a 42 points to 32 win at Loka in a very entertaining clash. This Premier Division fixture had been all square at the break with 10 points apiece, but it was Cockermouth who had the better of the second half. The Lauka try scorers were Mitchell Todd with 2 and 1 apiece from Zender Callender, Logan Milburn, Dean Haig and Jordan Allen, with 4 goals from Keith Campbell. Emerson Allen was their man of the match. For Cockermouth, try scorers were 2 for Rhys Burr, 1 each for player coach Liam McAvoy and man of the match Jay Rossi, Spencer Fulton, Ryan Scott and Sam Rossi. Regan Tinian kicked 5 goals. Lee Allen, the Lauka coach, said the game was very competitive with both teams giving their all. Cockermouth started really fast and put us under pressure in the first 15 minutes, but we recovered and we went in the half-time interval on level terms. Again in the second half they came out strong and scored a couple of tries close to our line, and we should have done better to contain them. We tried to come back and it got to 38 points to 32 with 5 minutes left, but then Cockermouth scored again to make the game safe. Liam McAvoy, the Cockermouth coach, said it was disappointing to start the Premier Division reset with a defeat at Maryport, so I asked them for a response at Lauka. I got that from them against a young Lauka side that I think will be challenging for the top 4 playoff spot. It was a good win in the end, and we were grateful for a couple of rugby union lads coming in to help us out. We have 2 tough games coming up against Kells and Wasbrow, but we want as many points as possible to give us a home tie in the playoff semi-final. The other game played at the weekend was in the First Division, in which Hensingham Air won 34 points to 24 against Flimby Vikings. It represented a second half turnaround as Flimby had led 18 points to 12 at half time, but Hensingham recovered to win with tries from Aidan Butterworth, Henley Donnan, Ollie Dunn, Jalen Conway, Dylan Cromwell and Jay Weatherall. Dylan Bragg kicked 5 goals and Dean Crow was their man of the match. The Flimby try scorers were Rhys Booty with 2 and 1 each from Ellis Ewer and Ryan Williams, with 4 goals from Cody Petre. Ricky Morrison, the Flimby coach, said, "It was a great arm wrestle in the first half and we took a 12-0 lead, but Hensingham have fought hard and took the lead back. It was close until the last 10 minutes before they clinched the win. Rhys Booty had an excellent game for us and scored 2 tries to keep it in pursuit of our top try scorer Nathan Kirkbride. Curtis Patrick didn't miss any of his kicks and had a solid performance on the way alongside Ellis Ewer. Credit to the referee, Trevor Dryden, for managing the game well and keeping it flowing." His opposite number at Hensingham, Chris Crowe, said, "After a really poor start to the game from us defensively, Flimby took advantage and scored 2 quick tries in succession. Then we regrouped and started to build into the game. Flimby brought a lot of real physicality to the game, especially in the middle of the field, plus their halfback was dictating their attacks, and we let him play too much at times. we had 11 under-18s players, so it was a great learning experience. And when they adjusted in the second half, they played some nice rugby. That bit of quality in attack and working more in defence was enough to get the win. Good luck to Flimby for the rest of the season, because on the weekend where the majority of teams struggled to get out teams, they had 20 lads playing and a full clubhouse afterwards, which is a great credit to how they're shaping up their return to the Cumberland League. And that, Parky, rounds up the Holman Igson Cumberland League for this week.
So yeah, I mean, this for me, I mean, lots of games called off, lots of 24-0ers.
Yeah, and I think we've said this before, Parker, when we spoke to other coaches, well, not just coaches, players, etc. It's what are the reasons behind these being called off? This has all been a bugbear of mine from the North West Men's League, yeah, but it's perpetuated year after year. The same thing's happening, and it doesn't seem to be being addressed. And until you find out the reasons why, matches, people can't fulfil fixtures, that's still going to happen.
Is it a case of? And I'm answering my own question here in a way, because just looking at I think, last season, I did a piece, didn't I, for the show where I said about the number of National Conference League players that had been used, and how they averaged about 40 every team. So in reality, you need almost double the players that you ever needed before, don't you? If you're going to run a first and a second team, or if you're going to run, whatever, you need at least 40 first team players that you can call upon. I mean, we'll hear from it all about Egremont in a little while with our national conference roundup, and they're going through the horrors at the moment.
Yeah,
I know that they've pulled out of the CARLA League because they don't have enough players because of a huge injury list there, and I get the National Conference League. It has to be better. It has to sort of be sterner.
Yeah.
Due to what happened last season and the amount of games that ended up with, clubs not playing on the right days and this type of stuff, there had to be consequences. And all those rules have been stiffened up this year. But what it means is that games will go ahead in the National Conference no matter what. And I just wonder what your thoughts were.
Yeah, well, the way I look at it, I agree in principle with what has happened last year for those teams that got really stiff penalties, that deservedly so. But I think certainly as we get to we'll get to the Egremont side of things a little bit later. I think there's something needs to be put in place where if there's what's the phrase? The extenuating circumstances. Mm-hmm. Need to be taken in consideration, because, like I say, we go on about reducing the tattle height to armpit height in community rugby because of player welfare, etc. Well, surely if you're then asking guys who are possibly not, really fit enough to go out onto a pitch to fulfil a fixture, which if they don't fulfil, they could get, certainly relegated from the division they're in. I think that's a bit harsh at the end of the day. But
then again, you can't really, because during the COVID times, there were some people and some clubs which were using that as an excuse for not playing games as well.
I agree.
So and I think whatever you put in place, so if you put something in to circumnavigate that and say, you can do that if you've got so many injuries and you can prove there's so many injuries. Where's that going to end? You could end up with just like a load of sick notes that just get reproduced, and next thing you know, you've got universal credit happening again.
But the thing is, the amount of injuries that Egremont have got, if you're as a team are going to say, well, I've got this many injuries, and okay, fair enough, say, fair enough, fine, your game's cancelled, and then suddenly the week after you've got a full team, then that's, there's things they're going to start asking questions. We're talking guys now who are out for the full season. So they are going to struggle. Which the bottom line is, what happens if Egremont drop out because of all those injuries. You've lost a really, really good team to the NCL who have been competitive, when they have got a team together. And, I think there's just got to be a tightening up. It's balancing that weight of between the carrot and the stick, type of scenario where, you can't keep browbeating every single person all the time. You've got to look at it. Well, I suppose the logic is from a disciplinary point of view. When we get somebody who's done a head-eye tackle or whatever and gets sent off, and then suddenly one person might get 3 games, then another, because their disciplinary record is, it's pretty good. They may get 2 matches. So it can, that process, the way of doing that sort of thing, can be done. I just think the thing is, we've got to look at why are these games being, sort of postponed. Loads of 24-0, it's like we're seeing all over. Is it lack of players? And I know that's another thing we spoke about. What how many people are taking part this day? You're saying there about they need a squad of 40.
Yeah.
Well, for being an NCL side, it says that you've got to have basically a reserve side, inverted commas. So if that reserve side has got to play, whether it's the Yorkshire Men's League, the North West Men, the Cumbrian League or whatever, that's then, if you've got to fulfil, you get a lot of injuries, you've got to set them players out of there, then you're talking another competition's getting it, so they're going to get penalised by the other, or not being able to fill the other match. We need to know why, sort of those things are happening, in the sense of, is it because people are on holiday a lot at certain times in the year? I mean, until you know what the actual reasonings between around all these things, then you can't start to get any answers or solutions for them, can you?
But there was there was meant to be a big thing that was run by the RFL. I think it was while I was away. I mean, I know.
But you've been away a while now, Park.
I know. I was feeling that. I've been feeling that at work, to be honest. When people have been contacted us saying, "We thought you'd left."
In fact, when you went to where the Tories were in power.
Blinking heck, has it been that long?
That long.
No, but with all joking aside, there was a meeting that was, it wasn't really well publicised, having said that, but I got to find out about a meeting that was happening where clubs were going to be being asked about a number of things, and one of them was about the fact that, there's a 25% turnover of players every single year. That's where all the stats are pointing to. And that is unsustainable. Yeah. So why are those players now not involved in the sport? Where is the next lot of players coming from? And does this mean that the rest of our competitions are getting weaker as a result?
Yeah, I agree. But like you've just said,
but where's the big write-up? I mean, even Phil Hodgson doesn't seem to have picked anything up from it, and I'm surprised, because he can usually sniff out a story, can't he?
I mean, to be fair, that is so important for our game, because this is the part of the game that supplies eventually all those players that are playing professionally, aren't they? Mm-hmm. So if you're identifying, look, we've got a lack here, then eventually at some point it's going to catch up where there's not going to be many players.
Well, you look at the clubs who have fallen upon hard times recently, so we've talked about Dudley Hill at points this season, about how they're resurrecting themselves after, sort of living on a knife edge for years in the National Conference League with no junior players coming through. Okay, so that for me is a real big reason for why that club is where it is at this moment in time. The fact that they haven't had the young players coming through, the fact that in a way they've been quite successful, and that some of the younger players have gone into pro ranks, they've gone playing for Bradford, they've gone playing for other teams, etc, etc. And then you look at Wigan St Pat's are another one that has been really, really struggling to promote any of their youngsters, because they haven't had an under-18 side for a number of years. Lee East, have also struggled at under-18s level in recent seasons, to regularly turn out teams, etc. There was one year where I don't think they were able to have an under-18s because they didn't have any players. And And those are the real issues about almost spotting where there's gaps, because ultimately that is going to pose a problem later down the line. And it's being able to, I suppose, support those clubs when those times come, because let's be honest, not everybody can play forever.
No.
There's, these days there's increased calls on people's time because of work. Work has changed. These days, you've also got, because of the time that we're playing, school holidays, and it's the only time families can get away. And then it just seems, at the moment, I'm looking on my Facebook and there's so many baby showers happening, it's unbelievable. And I think even that is taking an impact. And not forgetting, we're in festival season. I've got an idea though.
And what is that? Go on.
I've got it. Now hear me out here, because you'll laugh at this, right? So, you know that I'm always after ways in which games can be promoted.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've just had Kendall calling.
That's right, yeah.
We could have taken the CARLA League and had a round played at Kendall calling.
You mean a bit like Magic Weekend?
A little bit like Magic Weekend, but you'd actually get them after you've watched the band and say, "Come on, lads, right now it's time for the game. Now it's time for the game." We've got Leeds Festival coming up.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of different ways of promoting it, and that's the type of thing that needs to be happening. Is you need to speak to the people who are the core, issue to this, which is the lads who play. Find out their reasoning behind why they struggle to play sometimes. Get a measure on that, and then see, okay, that's a problem. How can we solve this problem? Does it mean those two key weeks, which we're just possibly in the middle of at the moment, last week in July, first week in August, or possibly, certainly if you've got children, are they always, for years and years, have there been the big 2 holiday weeks? Do we shut the game down for those 2 weeks? And say, all right, 2 weeks there, you go off, have your holidays. And I know some people will say, I might not take mine on that. That's, that within that period. Well, okay, when we're asking the questions, say, where did you go on your holidays? What dates did you go on your holidays last year? Are we looking at this time of the year? We can see, just from doing the results we're doing this week and last week, how many 24-nillers are. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure there's something in there with regards to, like you said, holidays and festivals, like you said, that will come up. Stag do's, different things like that. Because obviously people are getting married this time of the year, because hopefully the weather should be better, but that's the whole idea.
In the past, the stag do was Blackpool. Now it's Benidorm. Now it's abroad somewhere, isn't
exactly.
it?
Yeah. Well, you're talking all the other Eastern Bloc countries as well. They're going, aren't they, these days? But the thing is that's what's causing the problems. So do you, as I said, do you punish teams because of that, or do you say, okay, let's have a look at the game as a whole? How do we move it forward? But as I say, it's just, how long have we been doing this show? About 6 years now, something like that, maybe a little bit longer. And this has been the same thing year in and year out. We've had a whinge. I certainly have had a whinge about it.
I've got another idea as well.
Go on, here we go.
Nines.
Possibly, yeah.
Shorter-sided games.
Yeah.
Not just nines, but, shorter-sided games.
Yeah.
Because obviously everybody's struggling for players. So if a team turns up, or a team can only name sort of like 9 players, even for this time of year, do you have to would you bring in something like they've got in Masters? So in Masters Rugby League, you sign one registration.
Yeah.
And that means that you are just registered as a Masters player.
Yeah.
So in essence, you could turn up at a festival, you could play for Lee East, and the next festival that they had, you could play for Blackpool Scorpions. Yeah. And the one after that, you could play for Crosfields.
Yeah.
Or you could go and turn out for Ince Bridge.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you bring something like that in, to sort of like...
The other way of filling those 2 weeks in, obviously you'd have no games, therefore the questions then raise, but what happens, you're going to have a fixture congestion. So, why don't you play a few games that are 4-pointers? It's been done before. So, a game that you will be playing, basically there's 4 points in it, which will be home or away. From my point of view, don't just, sort of cane everybody the problem's got to be looked at. Otherwise, it's just going to go on and on and on. Does it? I suppose the big one, and it's mentioned quite regular, certainly by Phil in the League Express, is, do we go back to winter rugby?
From a purely selfish point of view,
yeah.
I wouldn't actually mind winter rugby because I get 24/7. I could do 24/7 rugby league, but 12-month rugby league, because you would transition almost from the professional game, wouldn't you? That's played still in that time of year, and then come September, amateur season starts.
And the other side of it,
but then would you have to take some weeks out of that and have like a shutdown at like Christmas and maybe towards the end of January when traditionally the weather goes bad?
Yeah, possibly. But the other argument is...
But you need to actually get the buy-in, wouldn't you? And I wonder how much there is. But so you'd have to ask a number of questions.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why this should be all, the question about what is going on and why these players are, You
do realise that the RFL actually does a questionnaire of players at the end of every season, or certainly it's something that they've been trying to do. But where is that data?
Exactly. What are the answers? What's the what are the problems? I mean, we're throwing things about there.
We could be talking through our backsides here, by the way, couldn't we? And probably some people would say not for the first time.
I can hear everybody shouting at the radio.
There's some people who'll be chucking stuff at their wherever the broadcasting device is.
The other thing about the weather, we're on about going back to winter rugby. You look at the weather that we've had this year. How many sunny days have we had to play rugby in? How many matches have been cancelled because of been flooding? Do you remember the beginning of the season because of flooding? We couldn't get onto pitches, and then we were saying some pitches were so muddy and getting cut up. So if it's happening during summer rugby, inverted commas,
we had that time last year where they called off all the British. All the games in Lancashire, didn't they? Because it was it was too hot and the pitches were were like baked apparently.
So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But if you don't address it at all or look at what the problems are to try and address them, you're in that. What has they said? Sign of madness is doing the same thing time and time again and getting the same results.
And expecting different results.
Yeah, different result, yeah.
Now, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, hang on, I've been party to this, I actually know what's going on, somebody give us a clue.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely fantastic. I'm happy to speak to anybody who is involved in this or has been to this meeting or knows what's happening and knows what's being taken forward. Please let us know, because we don't want it all to be one-sided as well, do we? And genuinely, we come from a good point. We talk because we care. That's what one of our strap lines is.
The bottom line is we want the game to flourish, and we don't want 24-0 score lines. We want everybody who pays the money and wants to play. If they're fit enough. And God willing that they're fit throughout a full season, we want them to play a full set of fixtures, and I mean that's how it should be at the end of the day. I mean, because some of them say it just needs. If you've got the results of why this is happening, well, let us know. Then how are you going to sort it out?
Okay. I think that's our rant done for the week, isn't
that's
it?
A big one, wasn't it? Yeah.
Tell you what, I need to chill out after that. You know what we need to do? We need to look through a few results, I think.
We certainly do. See if we can find a few more 24-0ers.
Yeah, so you're counting them, you're jotting them down. Put that pen down, Steve. Step away from the 24-0ers.
We could run a competition getting people guess how many 24-0ers are going to be in a week.
Well, if they look at the same results, they're going to win. Right, where I think we're going to start? We're going to start now with the North West Men's League.
North West Men's, yeah. Fire away.
I was at quite a big game, actually. Tuesday night. Chucking it down, it was. Bucketing it down.
Winter rugby.
Oh, no, it was warm. It was warm rain. Warmer rain. 21 degrees.
Yeah.
There it was. Camera.
Yeah.
the first 20 minutes before it got rained off. But this was a clash between Ashton Bears and Haresfinch. Haresfinch previously undefeated. Could they remain undefeated? Well, the way that Ashton Bears started the game was tremendous. In the first 5 minutes, Billy Newton threaded a kick through which went towards the post. It was touched down by Hopkins. That was converted by Newton, 6-0 in favour of Ashton Bears, and everybody on the ground was like looking at each other thinking, is it possible? Can they carry on here? Because this was a really young Ashton Bears side, by the way. There was, I think, 7 members of the team who were under the age of 18. So, I mean, it points to the fact that in the future they're going to be incredibly strong with the way that they have positioned their club at the moment. I know that they've got 2 teams at under 18 level this year, both of which are pushing for, the titles. So at that stage, 5 minutes in, Ashton Bears 6-0. Then after 13 minutes, Haresfinch hit back. Matt Ross, boom, cutting through, supporting the scrum half going under the post. Yeah. That was converted for 6 points each. Then there was no score for another, 12 minutes. It was very much tit for tat. And at that particular point, Ashton Bears were completing pretty high. Haresfinch were also completing well. There was a real tussle between the two 20-metre lines. Then Haresfinch spied their chance, and it was Aaron Lynch who got himself free about 25 metres out, and he scored an individual try. So the goal was kicked, 12-6, and then just before half-time, Matty Norton goes over, 16-6. Now Ashton had a chance right at the death, where again they put a lovely kick in. There was a really good chase on it, and it just ended up being palm dead before the interval. So it was 16-6 at the break. Very, very competitive. So the second half starts. I'd move round, because I decided that I wanted to be a little bit closer to my car just in case the heavens open further. Thankfully they didn't, and I got myself a nice little spot in the corner.
I just wanted to be closer to my yacht before.
I think that's what I needed, to be honest. It put that much rain down. And then all the rest of the game's points were scored in the first 12 minutes of the second half, and it was looking at that stage like it would be Ashton Bears on the end of a bit of a towel in fairness. And it was the weather where you needed a towel as well, to be honest. But both of those tries being scored by Matty Norton, so taking the ball from close range, forcing his way in. And I thought he had a really, really solid game and ended up crossing for a hat-trick. So 28-6, 20 minutes left, you're thinking, this could be terrible. This could be terrible for Ashton Bears. Fair play to him. They stood up to be counted, and in that last 20 minutes, it was Haresfinch who had to man all the barricades and try and keep Ashton Bears at bay, because they were very good coming forward, and Haresfinch were just ultra committed. So it finished 28-6 in favour of Haresfinch. And after the game, I caught up with the joint coaches of Haresfinch, so we'll hear from Andy Murray and Mark Saunders.
Well, gentlemen, I'm here after the game. 28-6 to Haresfinch. Andy, got to ask you first of all. In the old football parlance, they couldn't do it on a Tuesday night in Stoke, but you've done it on a wet Tuesday night in Wigan.
Yeah, it was a tough one, wasn't it? Conditions don't help. We can't call the weather at the minute, can we? 1 minute sun's cracking flags, next minute being it down, innit? But I think we turned up well for each other today, Bit of ball went down, which we obviously didn't want, but conditions don't help that. But you can't knock these lads. They do it week in, week out, especially in the dying parts of the games when they're putting them big efforts in, and that's where they deserve the big raps for them kind of efforts.
I mean, to be fair, it seemed like last 10 minutes Ashton just had all the ball.
Yeah.
And there was something there, wasn't there, just to keep them out?
Yeah, that's what we called it at our time. We said no more tries. That's it. They've had their fun, and these lads, they turn up every week and they do the same thing every week, and that's, can't knock them, can't fault them.
Mark, I mean, 12 wins on the run now in league. It's pretty good form, isn't it?
Yeah, we're doing well. We've just got to keep taking it one game at a time. We've got a couple of midweek away games that are tricky, but we've just got to keep turning up for each other. The more we win, the hungrier we get.
So does this mean that I can be invited to some of these midweek games then?
Yeah, definitely. Folly Lane next Wednesday, Parker.
Right,
Next
okay,
Wednesday.
okay. That sounds like a good one. That, to be fair.
Yeah, no, it does. And to be fair, I just want to give a massive props to Ashton because they're a young team and they just kept going, and you know they posed us some questions and a bit of experience. They'll go well next year, I think, in the league.
Yeah, just been having a conversation. I think they've got 7 under-18s players in that squad today. I mean, that's some going, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, especially in this. But if they've been playing together for that length of time, it's the step up with a few experienced lads. You know, it's there to take. So,
and I've got to ask you, Matty Norton, is there anything that you can't do? Got a trick tonight?
they scored that trick, yeah. You know, we didn't think that was one of his better games, to be honest. No, I'm only joking. He just is what he is, and he's a leader, and everyone just thrives around him and stuff. But I feel like if you ask Matty, he'd most probably say he wasn't happy with his performance tonight, but he just does the tough stuff, doesn't he?
And again, just your reaction on sort of 12 on the bounce, Andy?
Oh, it's madness, isn't it? Because look, we had that spell where we played all in the Challenge Cup, and I think that was a massive turning point for us. We had an honesty session this Tuesday after that, and we just sat down with each other and we thrashed it out, and we were just honest about our display that week, the build up to that Challenge Cup game, and since then we've turned everything round, and I think that was the massive part to the season. That game at Orrell in the Challenge Cup, that's drived us on to do what we're doing now, doing bigger and better things.
I know we said that earlier in the season, didn't we?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
And it's nice to see that form has continued and that consistency.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. But like I say, these lads, they just turn up for each other. It's not just here, you see it it's a Tuesday tonight, but on a Saturday, but it's the Tuesdays, the Thursdays, the sessions, what they're putting in, the full contact sessions, what they're doing. They love it, you know what I mean? They've bought into everything that we want to do this season, and we're getting the rewards for it now.
Guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'll go and let you go and enjoy this one.
Try and get dry, yeah.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
Great to hear from the two guys there.
Yeah, I mean, typical St Helens, that, wasn't it? It goes from being cracking the flags to peeing it down. That's got to be a
You've got to be honest, though. You've got to be honest, though.
Yeah, call it how it is.
I tell you what, I was looking out at lunchtime thinking, I could be in for a really nice night. I can't wait to get my camera out in this. And then gets out of the car in Ashton and it's chucking it down. I was like, oh, no.
But, I mean, but we've spoke to both of those lads before, and, they're a good duo, aren't they? Got a good coaching team. They've really got it, they work hand in glove with each other. And I can understand what they're saying, because I must admit, when they played Orrell in that Challenge Cup, I still was under the impression that every sort of competition that there would be in those two clubs, it would be them. It would be, fighting things out. And the irony, if I'm not wrong, I think they've been over to Orrell and beat Orrell, if not twice, if I'm not wrong, over there. So they've got that bit of a hoodoo off the bat there. Ashton Bears, I mean, it doesn't matter where they are really, as much as they're probably not having the season that they usually have. They're a bit more involved in the in amongst those teams.
There's reasons for that, though, isn't there? They've lost so much experience over the last 18 months. They've replaced that with a lot of promising young talent, and as we know with young players, they're just as likely to come up with a mistake as they have to come up with something brilliant.
That's right,
and it's a whole learning process, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I said to Dave Picton after the match, I said, you're not far off.
Yeah.
I said, no, this sounds like bad.
That's the Ashton Bears coach.
He's the Ashton Bears coach, yeah. He's promised me an interview on Friday when I go back and speak to him after the play against Shevington Sharks.
Chevy Sharks.
So I'll be back again.
Is that another home game, or is it away?
That's another home game, right? Yeah. So they've had 3 home games on the trot, actually. I know. That's a big ask as well for a community club, isn't it? To get ready for 3 home matches in the space of, I think it's 9 days.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a professional club, you moan at that sort of schedule, but no, these lads just get on with it, don't they?
I think possibly the other side to that is, I'm sure a lot of them would rather be playing a game of rugby rather than actually doing the training. But you look at the lads getting off working time to get to to play midweek. It's amazing how many, certainly in the Northwest men's, how many teams do play on midweek games, because I know certainly again,
Well,
the Friday night ones.
It depends on the sort of time of year. So when it gets around to this time of year, you see a lot of midweek games. Now, is it because a lot of the players go to Magic Weekend, so they want to be watching the Super League heroes, or get on the beer?
Yeah. But these are questions that should be asking. Along with those, like we were saying before, what are the reasons why players aren't playing? Then you could ask them, well, what are your thoughts on playing midweek games? And get a feel around lots of things like that, scope to help to try and fix the problem.
I don't mind a midweek game.
No,
myself,
I totally agree.
It's one of those where you can jib off work and head there if you've got a good employer.
And how many times have we said a midweek games always gets a good crowd as well? Compared to because you've got anybody who wants to go and watch a game. I mean, your usual suspects will always turn up on a Saturday. You know that, but then you've got others who. Midweek, you've got a chance to think, why don't go down there, watch the game, have a couple of pints, It's...
Well, interestingly, you mentioned that, to be honest, because there was a group of lads obviously supporting Haresfinch who were stood to me right-hand side at one point early in that first half, and they were having a discussion, and one of the lads said, hey, this is my first community game, this. I said, I'm really glad you asked me to come down. I usually only watch 10 tailings.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing is, other teams as well who are not playing. Amount of times, speaking of Haresfinch, I've been down to Haresfinch, and the amount of players that I see there from other teams who obviously are going to be playing the day after on the Saturday usually. And you think, well, for starters, you've got extra people coming down, to watch the game. So I don't know. It needs somebody having a look at it.
Tell this is your high horse this week. The second time you've jumped on its back.
Yeah, it's it just annoys me that it's the same thing that happens here. Will I be coming out with the same arguments next year? That's
You know what?
And it's recorded now.
Save this 15 minutes. Save this 15 minutes, folks, because we might be saying the same thing again in 12 months' time.
I'll just use the same piece of commentary, I'll tell you.
That's what I've been doing for years, the same bit of commentary. But anyway, we spoke to the coaches. What about the reaction from the players? I mentioned that we went and spoke to the hat-trick hero. There's only one hat-trick that was scored in this, and it's Matty Norton. What a conversation this is.
Okay, I'm joined by Matty Norton. Matty, hat-trick tonight, pal.
Yeah, good team effort, to be honest with you. It's just a couple of them that fall over the line. Just been working on a few things, keeping tight behind that boat, pushing with each other, so just hanging around a few half-backs and paired off, really.
Just had a chat with Andy and Mark, and we're saying it's now 12 games unbeaten in the league. I mean, this is some run you're on, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely. So, beginning of the season, we had a few new recruits come down, and we played all in the Challenge Cup, and to be honest with the new recruits, we got a bit ahead of ourselves, so from then, when Harold did us over in the Challenge Cup, we all had a good long look in the mirror and we said to each other, listen, let's buy in, let's have a good go, we're not world beaters, and week on week we've just progressed. What Mark and Andy's been teaching us, every one of us have been taking on board, and I think you can see out there our work ethic for each other. They scored early doors off a kick, and then I don't think they look like scoring after that.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was almost like you turned up and you said, right, they've had the gift now, we're gonna keep watertight, and you did.
Yeah, exactly, that was it. We said, like, a bit slow getting off the mark. It's always hard midweek games where lads have been working, so they've probably all not had the right prep for the game, so they started a bit better than us, but once we got into our swing of it, I thought we was a lot more physical, a lot more aggressive. To be fair to you, it was a young team and they kept coming though, so you can't take that away from them, so good luck to them at the season. But I think our defence are winning us games. So last week when we played Alton, they scored early doors, went 10-0 down, and then they didn't score after that, so we went a full half without scoring. We just got another full half without scoring. We played Chevy the week before that, they scored early doors, and in the second half they didn't score again, so
it's a bit of a bad habit to get into, but you're turning it around.
Yeah, definitely. I think our fitness is playing a big part in that as well, so we're willing to break our backs in that back second half, the back ends of them, for keep going and keeping them off that line. I love it at the moment, everyone's buying in, there's a good morale there, and the best thing about it, mate, lads are enjoying it. That's what it's all here for. We all give up time on a weekend, weekday. We've all got families, but every one of us down here, we're bought into it and it's enjoyable, and I'm loving it at the moment.
And it's great from a Finch point of view that, you know, the guys that came through the system originally, that are all coming back.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So there is quite our spine, really. Local Finch side, you've got Massive Horse, you've got Dan Lynch, Az Lynch, Geordie Morris. They're all local Finch lads, and they grew up with each other, they've played together. So to be honest, it's good with that, because there's nothing better than winning thing for your mates. That's how I look at it. The thing when they'll sit back in a couple of years' time and they remember, oh, we've not won out yet, but the way we're going, they can sit back in a couple of years' time and say, remember we did this, remember we did that. And it's good memories. It's what it's all about, winning stuff for your mates and your friends and your family.
So okay then, what's the Matty Norton story then? You know, like where have you been? You know, I know, obviously I know you for your long stint at Fatto.
Yeah. So originally I was a bull miners lad.
Okay.
So Mark, he's more like family to me, Mark. So he coached me from under 8 till I was 16. And then I dabbled in a few academies and stuff like that. Then I bounced them from me like bulls, clock face, and then I found Fatto Heath. I loved every bit at Fatto Heath. One of the best running balls at the standard rugby was brilliant. We went on and went NCL and all that. And then Mark got in contact and he said he fancied he go at Finch. And to be honest, I was still playing decent rugby at Fatto, but I've got a family, and so the commitment to travelling every week, giving up my Saturdays, it was hard for me. So 2 young lads, I can't just pig off on a weekend and then go. You go in Cumbria every week, whole every weekend. So half of that time we haven't drink out coach, so I was a write up on Sunday because we were in December. So it was more of a family thing, but I'll tell you something, it's been a really good decision. And just for win something with Mark as well. We won the Challenge Cup at 17, not Challenge Cup, Lancashire Cup at 17 with Mark. So just for be with him and watch him, because Mark's watched me progress, but I'm also watching Mark progress as well, which is a good thing, which I enjoy that, because he's a good man. So is Andy Murray, so me and Andy go way back, so off the street, should I say. So it's
off the streets.
Yeah. So that's good as well. Like I said, it's a club. Like I've got some best friends here. I've got Brad Davis, Niall Allen, Danny Large. We're all local. We're a gang of lads who stuck together. So it's like the team split into different gangs of lads, but everyone comes together. You know what I mean? Like we've all come from different parts of town, but we've all formed together, and I think we're forming a really good bond and a really good team.
It certainly works, you know, because I said 12 straight now in the league and top of the league again.
Yeah. So that's it. Everyone's buying in. It's 12 straight wins. To be honest, I would be very unhappy now if we lose a game. That's our thing. We won. I looked over the leagues over the last couple of years, and the lowest points against was 134, I think it was. So we're aiming to break that. So we're on 90 now. We've got 5 games to go.
Right.
So
that's a decent challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, it's coming up. We're only averaging 8 points a game when you look at it like that. So, and we've nils 3 or 4 games. We've had a couple of nils in that. So that's our challenge, and I think we're going to do it, to be honest with you.
And a couple more of these midweek ones to look forward to.
Yes, so we've got Folly midweek and we've got Chevy, Ayrsham midweek. Aysham's going to be a very tough place to go.
That is, yeah, because I mean you're giving off work and then heading up there, heading up there for that.
Yeah, so there's always a tough place to go there. They're big physical set lads, and to be honest, when they come down our place, they played some decent rugby league. They had a decent league forward who like to tip on, they shift it in their own half, so it'll be a good challenge for us.
They've done alright to the league as well this year, haven't they?
Yeah, I'm very surprised at where they are, to be honest with you. I was surprised at the, nothing against Folly Lane, but I was surprised against the result on the weekend with Folly doing them. And I think it was at Ayrsham as well, wasn't it? So that was a bit like, did they have 3 missing? That's it. I was well in this league, so all about the team you put out. Last couple of weeks, not last 5 weeks now, we've sort of had the same starting 13 out, which is brilliant. As long as you can keep down the field, it's good. But all it takes is one stag do or 2 or 3 lads and all these, and some teams can fall apart. But last 5 or 6 weeks, our spine's been there, so that's a good thing for us.
I think that's generally, what makes strong teams, isn't it? The availability of players and regular availability.
Yeah, definitely, because it is hard commitments. Like I said, a lot of lads have got families, they've got jobs, they work away. Sometimes they get home, they're late, they're tired. It's just all about, it's up to you really. If you want it, you go and get it. That's how I look at it. And what else are you going to be doing sat at home unless he's nagging you? So,
is there anything else that you think clubs could maybe do? Because obviously you're getting to this sort of stage where you've done the commitment side. You was really, and don't get me wrong, you're still committed, but you was really committed for a number of years. National conference, as you mentioned, going to Hull, going to Cumbria. Is there anything that you think clubs can do to try and foster that spirit, or have those days kind of bypassed us because of life moves on?
Yeah, life does move on. The thing what kept me coming back is just the team bonding, the morale, the laugh, the fight, the desire with each other. Because I've played with some lad, I might have played 10 minutes with him, I played 20 minutes with him. But if I go out round town, you bump into him, you see him in a bar, you see him in a club, everyone's friends. And that's what it's all about, rugby league. Small community, but we all play the game physical, but once you come off that field, it's shaking hands, and that's what I like about it, the community game. I've gone, like I said, I've been to a couple of clubs, but I've made some friends for life there, definitely. Especially down Fatterleaf, some lads, I made some belted lads, so it's good that way.
Matty, really appreciate you giving your time. Thank you so much, mate. And best of luck for the rest of the season. But no doubt I'll see you in the midweek, one of these midweek games. Yeah, I quite like them as well, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully catch you again and we get another hat trick. So keep it sticking over. Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Green Cooling keeps the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League show cool, even when tackles get heated.
What an enjoyable conversation that was.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys who, he again, going back to what we were saying before, these are the type of blokes you need to speak to, because the amount of different sort of situations he's been through, and like he said, he moved, he loved it at Thatcher's, but he moved from there because obviously, one of the coaches there was a good friend of his, and he thought he'd come and help them out, but it has helped because he can now see his family more because he's not travelling afar as much. So obviously that has been an issue to a certain degree. So how many other people? It would be interesting to see how many people who've played NCL who now play North West Men's or Yorkshire Men's or CARLA. What were the reasons they've moved? Is it a similar sort of reason? And don't get me wrong, that's not a slight on the NCL at all. That is the RFL's duty, I think, to have a word with these people, because it's the game as a whole, and we all can work together as one, so we get the best out of all these players and they get the best out of the sport. Interesting.
But I loved getting to do these sort of chats. I think that's gone in as one of my favourite interviews of the season. That.
Yeah, he's a great bloke, isn't he? And the thing is, he's done so much, hasn't he? You know what I mean? I mean, like I said to you when you told me he'd scored an hat-trick, I said, and that really surprises me, because the fact that he's stayed on that long to be able to score 3 tries, because every time I've seen him over the last about a couple of seasons, invariably he's spent at least 10 minutes on the sides as Matty.
Matty, just making it clear, that is the thoughts of Mr. Steve Beech. Mr. Dave Parkinson has nothing against you, mate.
I mean, I'm sure if we look at the stats, I'll be borne out as well.
But yeah,
but he's committed, Parky. That's the thing.
Very committed.
He's watching play. He's wholehearted. There's no ifs and buts about it.
Oh yeah. A tremendous player, and continues to offer so much to Haresfinch as well. And as I mentioned, with Haresfinch, they've got a group of players that have come back who they came through the ranks originally, and then they've got a group of other lads that are like, he mentioned himself there, Matty, where they've just been friends throughout, and they want memories.
Yeah, and that's right. Well, amount of times we say that, we've been saying that about the young lads you've been going on tour with.
I say this about the tours and the trips. And it is about memories.
Yeah, and it's no different from community sides. And like you say, if you then can go on and you can play games with lads who you've known for years and years, it's like, when you have workmates that you've worked with for years and you go out for a drink with regularly. I mean, I know that's changing, sort of sociologically these days.
That's a big word. That's a massive word for a podcast night.
I don't even know if it's correct, but the thing is, it is, and in this age of sort of like computers and all those types of things, you need these types of things to get that social interaction, not just playing, but off the field and having a couple of beers. Families get in there, and then youngsters get involved in the lower, clubs and all those types of things, and the girls get involved in the girls' game as well, because, like I've said before, I mean, from a government point of view, there's no youth clubs, or very, very few youth clubs like there used to be years and years ago, and these are the types of areas that are filling those gaps now, and you look at the likes of Haresfinch, like when we were down there at the beginning of the season, they were just about to open the new changing rooms, and they'd sort of like, I think before that we'd been, and I thought the footings were in when we were in at the end of last season, and we got there and poof, this big building's up there and it's looking great, and obviously when we get down there again, hopefully we can get a look inside and see what they're like. But yeah, it's great for, say, a club building up like that.
It is. All right, let's have a look at the other results, shall we, in the North West Men's League. So I mentioned there about this being the second of 3 consecutive home games for Ashton Bears. They played the first of those last Thursday night, where they got defeated by Oral St James, 34 points to 14. Now, again, speaking to Dave Picton, the Bears boss, he was saying that the first 40 minutes there was the best 40 minutes of the season. They actually led Oral St James by 14 points to 6, and then in the second half, high completions from Oral won the game.
Yeah. I mean, look, we know how good Oral can be against any side. We saw them against Latchford, Albion, beginning of the season, and it was a similar scenario where Latchford, didn't do too bad initially, but then I think he just stepped on the gas, didn't they, Oral St James?
So 48 hours later, Oral St James were on the field again. They took on Shevington Sharks at home. They beat them by 30 points to 6. And your other results in the Premier Division last weekend, so Heysham Atoms 16, Folly Lane 28. Perhaps a surprise result, that one, but really, really good bit of play there from Folly.
Yeah.
And then Halton Farmouth Hornets just getting the better of Blackbrook. Something of a local derby there between those two. 24 points to 18 in favour of the Hornets, who are starting to just get themselves positioned, aren't they?
And that was the end of the year. That was important. They're in 4th now, but that pulls them to just 3 points behind Blackbrook, who are in 3rd. But they've got a game in hand on them.
Oh, have they?
So it just puts them back in there and starts thinking, can we get, it puts the doubt in other teams' minds when that sort of happens, as it were.
Looking at Division 1, West Orton Lions 44, Thatto Heath Crusaders A24, Burton Wood Bridge at home against Goulburn Parkside. That's something else of a local derby, that, isn't it? In fact, with the way that they're building the road, it's the Parkside derby, isn't it, really? Burton Wood Bridge 18, Goulburn Parkside 36.
That is a big win, that, in the bigger scale of things, because last season these two obviously have been promoted, and they were the top 2 sides in the Division 2, and they were always really, really close games. So for Goulburn to have that is a big win, be interested to see. Burton Wood, I think certainly Burton would have struggled in this division, and I don't know why, because I expected them to really be up there in and amongst it, because they played well at the end of last season, and I think they started off reasonably well this season, but it's just frittered away, and they're down into 8th now. Goulburn are actually propping the whole thing up, so that's an even bigger win in that respect.
One of those 4-pointers virtually that you were talking about before, in a way, isn't it?
Yeah.
There was also a big win as well in Division 1 for Dalton, whose push for the title continues following a 52-10 success over Chorley Panthers. Now, tries for Dalton came courtesy of Owen Bridle, who scored 2, Ross Bird, who grabbed 2, Joe Crary, who grabbed 2. Ben Ashburner, Kevin Armstrong, Deck Gavin and Pat Kelly scoring 1 each, with Kelly kicking 6 goals as part of that big win there.
Yeah, and for the Panthers, Weston got 2 tries and Burns 1 conversion.
And then also in that division, he says, Salford City Roosters 28, Ulverston 26, and we've just got a very, very small brief on this. So it says Ulverston were on the wrong end of a 28-26 scoreline at Salford City Roosters after trailing 12 points to 4 at the break. So that's a good win there for Salford City Roosters, whose form has been a little bit mixed, hasn't it, over the course of the year?
Yeah, Salford City Roosters, tries for them from Ackers, Crowther, Hill, Schofield and Griffiths, and goals, 4 goals by Priestley. For Ulverston, 3 tries for Catlett, Story scored 1, and Jackson, and Nesbitt was on hand to kick 3 goals.
And then into Division 2, Westbank Bears 18, Springview 6, Waterhead Warriors A36, Roos Pioneers 16. So this was a bit of a difficult one, to be honest, for the Pioneers. It was neck and neck at half time, 16 points each, but injuries piled up and the Pioneers conceded defeat. Tries for them came courtesy of Glenn Phillips with 2 and Leighton Deacon with 2 goals, also from the boot of Sam Beattie.
Yeah, and Roos Pioneers are currently in 5th in Division 2, top of the table there, Highpool Tigers.
And they suffered a surprise defeat, some would say, on the road at Lee Miners Rangers A-side. Lee Miners Rangers succeeding by 26 points to 10. And just having a quick look at those scorers. So Paul Ricketson and Connor McDermott crossed for tries, with Grant Burns adding 1 goal for the Tigers. Now Ricketson was also the man of the match as well, but it wasn't going to be enough.
Yeah, Lee Miners Rangers tries were from Molyneux, Kabula, Reed, Lewis and Bliss, and they also Ubis weighed in with 3 goals.
Good stuff there. So that's your results from Division 2. Into Division 3 and your results this past weekend. Banky Bulls 18, Garswood Stags 28. Perhaps a surprise, that one, but that's a huge result for Garswood, that, isn't it?
It is, it certainly is, because those two are sort of... that was the top of the table clash that we mentioned last week. Garswood on top there now with 26 points, Banky Bulls with 21. And Banky Bulls, if you remember in Division 4, they were... them and Runcorn were the 2 teams who have gone up. And don't get me wrong, Runcorn are in 4th. So they're both up there in amongst it. But yeah, big win that for Garswood Stags.
Speaking of which, though, that Runcorn challenge faded at the weekend. They got beat by Blackpool Scorpions, 30 points to 22, Steve. I mean, that's a great result for the Scorpions, that, isn't it?
It is, and we go on about the Scorpions, and we always sort of like, I suppose... I do apologise to the Scorpions for this, but there's always that sort of sympathy edge to us.
I'm never feeling sympathy for a Scorpion.
Well, I can tell you that they've actually won 6 matches this year and lost 7, and they're on 12 points. So they're
very competitive, aren't they? Very competitive in the league. So they're in the right league at the moment, aren't they? Yeah. They're going well. Those on 24-0 watch, we've got our first one coming up here. Caddy's Head Rhinos 0, Higginshaw 24. And then if we look at Division 4, your results this past weekend: Langworthy Reds 0, Haydock Warriors 24, Culcheth Eagles 44, Portico Vine 10. This was a huge result for Culcheth, this. Were we at the wrong place in Warrington?
I don't know, but that is a big win, because speaking of dark horses that we were on about before, with the 2 teams that got promoted from this division last year, Portico Vine, I think it's their first season back as an open age side and doing very well on 15 points at the moment. Culcheth Eagles doing well this year as well. They're second at the moment to Haydock Warriors. They're on 16 points. So yeah, that was a really, really good win.
And then elsewhere, Chester Gladiators 34, Orrell St James A 34. you got your money's worth there, didn't you?
Certainly did.
Crackerjack of a game. And then in the entry division, Leyland Warriors 0, Hindley 8, 50. And any other results that I missed out there, Steve?
No, I think you got them all there, Parker.
I think we're all okay, aren't we? So, yes. Right, moving over to the Yorkshire Men's League.
Do you want to do the fixtures in that, or do you want to
well, I might do a big roundup.
Okay,
I might do a big roundup of fixtures because I've gone past that page on my screen.
Roundup on fixtures. Yorkshire Men's League.
Yorkshire Men's League. So we have, again, feel free to fill the results in here that I might miss out.
Just go and get the Yorkshire Men's results up.
So Friday night, Division 1, Bradford Dudley Hill 30, Charleston Rovers 6. And then Saturday in the Premier Division, King Cross Park 46, Fryston Warriors 16. Newson Panthers 26, Keighley Albion 22. That sounds like an absolute humdinger of a game. And Stanley Rangers, who've been having a pretty good season, they defeated the Almondbury Spartans by 34 points to 12. And finally from the Premier Division, Doncaster Tollbar 44, Westcote Common 30. That was a high scoring clash as well.
Yeah, very much so.
You know me, I like those sort of games. Some people had, they crave for the 12-4s. Me, I want plenty of tries. Certainly you get plenty
of tries, but a close game. That's what I like.
In Division 1, Cutsight Raiders against Wibsey Warriors. We don't seem to have a result from that, but I'll go Hunslet 12, Ossett Trinity Tigers 18. That's a brilliant result for Ossett Trinity. And Murfield 30, Siddle Academy 6. A big win for Murfield as well.
Yeah. No results I can see for Cutsight, unfortunately.
Okay, at least
tell a lie.
24-0.
No, it was Thursday the 1st of August it was played, and it was Cutsight Raiders 32, Charleston Rovers 32.
Oh, right, okay. So that was last week, that wasn't it?
That would be a good one, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. In Division 2, Brighouse Rangers 48, Birkinshaw Blue Dogs 0, Castleford Panthers 14, Mould Green 24, Emily Moore Cougars 24, Queensbury 0, and Seacroft Sharks 24, Illingworth 20. That sounds like a cracker.
Yeah, that nice close game there.
Division 3, Dodworth Miners 44, Ellen and Greetland 10, New Earswick All Blacks 18, White 12, Upton 24, York Acorn 0. Birstall Victoria 12, Bramley Buffaloes 56. Division 4, Alton Raiders against Dewsbury Moor was called off. Underbank Rangers, you know what that'll be? I think we mentioned it last week. They're having problems with travellers at the moment over at Alton Raiders.
That's right, yeah.
So they've had to move like a load of the kids' games and that type of stuff. It's really affecting them, and they've been affected badly this season with things happening with those pitches.
Yeah.
So if I remember rightly, some bright spark had decided that he was going to run.
That's right, yeah. Bikes or quad bikes or whatever.
Quad bikes and cars all the way up the top pitch. And you're just thinking, why? These clubs, they're in it for the right reasons. They develop the young players. They, they're I'm getting on my high horse here now because this means something to me. You know, the fact that, people should have a lot of respect for what community clubs do, and the fact that, like you said, they're filling in for all the old youth clubs that used to exist up and down the country.
Email,
yeah, exactly. So we've got Sherburn Bears. Underbank Rangers 12, Sherburn Bears 4. So we'll be happy with that score. That's what I mentioned before, isn't it? Some think that's an absolute classic. And then we've got Goole Vikings 58, West Craven Warriors 8. Big win that for Goole.
Yeah.
In Division 5, lots of 24-0s here. Derby Elks 24, Craigleston All Blacks 0. Dearne Valley Bulldogs 24, Garforth Tigers 0. Linley St Joseph's 24, Farnley Falcons 0. Batley 22, Scarborough Pirates 16. Yeah, we saw a game.
Yeah.
And what a cracker that sounded like it was as well. In Division 6, you can maybe have a look for Hemsworth against the Moortown Mambas, and I think you've got a little bit of news about where they are on the geography side, haven't you?
Moortown Mambas, trying to find information on them. It's still trying to pull teeth. But apparently they're from North Leeds, as I've found their Facebook page. You have a lot of photographs of the games that are on, and they play in an all-black kit.
Okay.
And the badge is a shield with a black mamba, which is sort of surrounding it. It looks very good, I must admit.
You know, I can't think of anyone else that has a snake as a badge other than the Anglian Vipers. Imagine if them two met.
Vipers against the Mambas.
Whose shield is better?
I don't know, but there'd be a bit of venom in it, wouldn't there? Yeah. It's the Emsworth Dragons 18, Moortown Mambas 22.
Keighley Albion Academy 40, Guiseley Rangers 10. And then, is there a result between Rycroft Hammers and Charleston Rovers Academy?
Let me just check for you. Rycroft Hammers and Charleston Rovers. There is. It's Rycroft Hammers 6, Charleston Rovers Academy 24.
We're moving over to the National Conference League Alliance, and I might have to wait for you to bring the results up here, because the only one that I have is the one that I mentioned, which was Bradford Dudley Hill 30, Charleston Rovers 6. But apparently there was meant to be games between Normanton Knights and Eastmoor Dragons, and West Bowling Academy and Milford.
Well, we've got West Bowling Academy versus Milford. Is not there. The only one we've got is Normanton Knights against Eastmoor Dragons. And yes, it's 24-0 to Normanton Knights.
Okay. And then in the whole division, I think there's a 24-0 between Myton and Scunthorpe Steel Sharks. Which way did that one go?
It is. We're on in the. Let me just check. It's the whole division, isn't it?
The whole division.
Whole division. Here we go. We've got Myton Warriors 24, Scunthorpe Steel Sharks 0.
Check your phone. I think somebody sent us a text message on that. Hey, that was good timing, wasn't it?
I think it's Moortown Mambas telling us where they actually are.
And saying that they're available for photographs. Yes, and the other result from the whole division, Skirler 16, East Hull 48. That's a great result for East Hull, that one. And over to the fixtures, and it's a bumper fixture list because we're going to go through the North West men's fixtures and the Yorkshire men's. Mm-hmm. So I'm breaking with tradition. I'm setting a new tradition up like I do every single week here, Steve. So as you'd imagine, fixtures few and far between actually this week.
Is that the Magic
weekend? Yeah. So we have on Thursday evening.
Just before you go into that park, then surely if Magic Weekend's every year, why isn't there something in place to ask clubs, do you want to play on Friday? I mean, every club, do you want to play on Friday?
Clubs can arrange this though.
Yeah, but I mean,
they can arrange it themselves, and then all they've got to do is notify the league.
But
it's not the hardest things to do.
Yeah, but if it was put in place by those in power, to say, look, there's no fixtures on this Saturday. Fixtures were going to be played on a Friday. Then there's ways of doing it, because unless you push some of them to do things, they won't, or if they're given the nod that you've got to do things.
Thursday night, Rochdale Mayfield A against Lee Miners Rangers. They just left it hanging there, folks. So that's in Division 2. Friday evening, we've got 2 games in the Premier Division. Ashton Bears at home to Shevington Sharks. I'll see you there. And Halton Farmouth Hornets at home to Follitt Lane. And on Saturday, one clash from Division 1, Ulverston against Burton Woodbridge.
Yeah, I've got to say about Halton Farmouth Hornets, you know, the amount of players they turn out for the professional game over the years been phenomenal. We have to get down there and A, watch them, and B, sort of get some representative on and tell us all about where things are now with that club.
They're one of the biggest clubs, because the amount of young players that they have going through the system.
Yeah. And we go on how the community sides in Widnes have been decimated, haven't they, over the years, really?
And yet they continue to go from strength to strength, don't they? So, that's a good shout, that, actually, Steve. if you're listening to this and you are from Halton Farmouth Hornets, we want you.
Yeah.
We want you as our guest. We actually, it's a valid point because, you're fighting above your weight there, aren't you, with what you're doing, and you're obviously doing tremendously well. Hang on, is this Halton Farmouth Hornets?
On the wow, how good is this?
Hey.
Oh
no, you've done a I'm used to that sound.
Right, that's me. No more binging. So if we ask you a question, you can't get through to me now.
Okay, right. Elsewhere in Division 4, Oral St James A are up against Liverpool Lizards this time out. So both of those games, Ulverston and Burton Wood Bridge, and Oral St James A and Liverpool Lizards, taking place on Saturday. Over on the Yorkshire Men's League side, Saturday sees in the Premier Division Newson Panthers up against Almondbury Spartans. Division 1 has Murfield up against Hunslet ARLFC, and Bradford Dudley Hill there at home against the Ossett Trinity Tigers. In Division 2, Seacroft Sharks are hosting Emily Moore Cougars. Illingworth are over at Castleford Panthers. And in Division 3, we've got New Earswick All Blacks up against Ellen and Greetland. Birstall Victoria host Upton. While Division 4 just sees one clash this weekend, Dewsbury Moor on the road at West Craven Warriors, and Division 5 is the Scarborough Pirates up against Batley. That's a quick turnaround for those two teams, isn't it? They played each other this weekend just gone. And in the NCL Alliance Division, West Bowling Academy are slated to play Normanton Knights, and Milford are set to host Eworth. And the Hull Division, Skirler against Cottingham Tigers, West Hull against the Scunthorpe Steel Sharks.
That's postponed, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Right, okay.
I've got here that on Thursday that West Hull play East Hull.
Oh, right, okay. That's a big derby if ever there was one. West Hull and East Hull. Whoa. Yeah. Never the twain shall meet. But yeah, some fantastic action. And some fantastic action in Wales as well, by the way. So the finalists of the JES Rugby League Conference have been decided. So it's going to be South Wales Jets, who beat the Cynon Valley Cavaliers 42-10 in the semi-finals, and the Aberavon Fighting Irish, who accounted for Bridgend Blue Bulls. So good luck to both of those sides. For the Fighting Irish, they won a classic 26 points to 18. So I mean that really is a cracking semi-final, that, isn't it?
Very much, yeah.
And I think that's all the fixtures from the regional leagues that we're going to talk about this week.
There's certainly plenty there, Parker.
Loads of things happening. The only one that I've not mentioned, by the way, and I knew there'd be one that slipped through the net, is the Vantage Competitions League Championship Final, which happened last week in Barrow. Highpool and Roosh Pioneers 28, Ulverston 14. Okay, we've reached that time of the show where, yes, we're rounding up the National Conference League action. As you know, though, Steve, we had a little bit of a derby on our hands at the weekend, didn't we? We went over to Warrington, we went over to Woolston. Fantastic afternoon of entertainment.
It certainly was. It was absolutely superb. I mean, weather was good for it as well.
It was, and I got plenty of good pictures.
Yeah, that's the thing you'll find out in a second.
Right, so that's our, I suppose, very, very brief overview, but what actually happened, here are the best bits. Taylor spins it into the middle. Stanway keeps it moving out to Steele. Steele drifts across to the right. Oh, he's made the break is Steele. Steele putting the footwork on, and that is going to be the opening score of the game. Steele fighting his way through, and what a great try that is to start us off, Steve.
Yeah, great try.
Stanway kicking forward, decent enough kick as well. And it's taken by Crosfields and slipped
out. Ball.
And Stanway will go over. It's a superb pass out of the tackle by Luke Walker. He was the man that pounced. He leapt higher than anybody else, and he's the man that links, so that Brad Stanway can add another try to his tally. Ball goes loose from him.
Loose. Gone backwards.
Definitely went backwards.
Okay, yeah.
Here's Walker though. Walker spots a gap. He's through the middle. He's danced past the fullback. Has he got the pace to finish it off? Has he got the pace? You better believe he's got the pace. Superb from Walker. Brilliant from him. Picked up that loose ball, 10 metres away from his own line. Zipped his way through the middle. Danced his way past James Tarpey. And it's good night Vienna and a third try of the game. Yes, it does. It's been intercepted. All the way.
Interception. Everybody stayed still from the Woolston side. And it's Alex Clutterbuck. Goes full length underneath the sticks. End to end, Parker.
80-metre intercept there from Clutterbuck. Brother Adam goes into dummy half. Long ball left. Then drop back to Tarpey, who slips his way through the defence. The response is great when it comes from Woolston.
Yeah, that's what they wanted. I mean, nice little move there onto that left-hand side of the post. Just crossing over, and Tarpey going in on the 30-minute mark.
So just what was required. They had to get the next score, did Woolston. Yeah. They're inside the 10-metre line. Its ball's been lost. It's been picked up by Harry Files. Harry Files has managed to get over the line.
Referee goes behind, looks at his touches, and awards it.
Well, the force of the hit forced an error from Aaron Holliday. The man who picked up the pieces was Harry Files, and Files crosses for another try this season. He's 12th of the season.
Always the man on the spot.
Adam Files brushes away from one, brushes away from two, spins through another one, finds the support there of Brown. Brown's feeding through. Brown feeding in field. Tarpey going under the post. Brilliant play from Woolston Rovers. They just needed the smallest of holes. It was taken to perfection by Adam Files, who brushed his way through 3 attempted challenges, got the pass away to Ryan Brown, and Brown was the try assist merchant for James Tarpey.
Yeah, and again Tarpey there, just on the shoulder, ready for the pass, and that's what a good fullback does.
Files spins it right to Forster. Forster through the hands.
Oh, here we go again.
Interception. Crossfields down the other end. Can it be completed?
No.
Ben Lomax running all the way. He's being chased down a little bit, but the try will stand. And that is a good 85-metre intercept.
How many length of the field tries can you see in one match, Barker? Ball coming out to this right-hand side. And Walker's in there. Oh, he's gone in. Oh, some weak tackling. And Walker's gone in right under the sticks. Ball played out to this right-hand side, through hands. Walker coming in, making the extra man, and just extending that lead again.
A brilliant bit of play that from Luke Walker. He sent the defence completely the wrong way, stepped back inside, burned off the cover. Yeah, you're right, there was a couple of weak defenders, but to be fair, that was class attack from Walker.
Yeah.
Steele again, bringing it right, Walker, all the way, Walker. Walker's gone over. Brilliant work from him, and the deadlock has been broken. We have further points.
We certainly do, and it was the same thing again on this right-hand side. He was joining the line, making the extra numbers, and just the weight of players and position has took him over there just about 10 metres into this right-hand touchline.
Did really well there.
Yeah.
Files goes left to Brown. Brown men in motion. Oh, they've worked the overlap. Yeah. And in goes Reece Brindley. That was brilliant work, to be honest. Lovely final pass from Craig Wolvin. And the final whistle sounds. It's another win for Crosfields. A win that will keep them in touch with the top 3 of the competition. Keeps them really well placed.
13 Pro-Am, giving a voice to Community Rugby League.
So that one finished 40 points to 24. I tell you what, I didn't realise that camera was as nice as it was.
Machine Gun Parkinson, I think that's your new name.
But it was a really good game. Very enjoyable. And as you said, there was so many length of the field tries. There was a couple of interceptions for the mix. There was quick reactions. At one point, it was like it was going to be the tale of 2 fullbacks. But the guy that really impressed you was playing in the second row for Woolston, wasn't he?
Yeah, Clutterbuck. I mean,
for Crosfields.
For Crosfields, Clutterbuck. Got to say though, you listen to those clips, and how we didn't give it to the Crosfields fullback, I don't know, because he went in for three tries. But saying that, there was a lot of hard work done by Clutterbuck and the other forwards as well, but he stood out. But that length of the field try that he took was absolutely superb.
Right, you know what? Shall we hear from the man of the match in your eyes, Steve? Let's hear now from Alex Clutterbuck. Okay, I'm alongside Alex Clutterbuck. Alex, first of all, great win. Great to do the double against local rivals.
Yeah. Always good to come here and get 2 points. I mean, we've beat them now many times, so it's always good. And everyone loves it when we do beat them.
What are these games like to play in?
Good, hard, tough. You know, coming here, it's always going to be a tough game, so yeah.
Got to say as well, what a try. Have you ever run further for a score?
No, I was hoping the ginger lad would come and tackle me, to be honest. I didn't want to run the full length, so yeah, just never done that before, and I probably never will.
Talk us through it, because it's like you just dived out of the line and plucked the ball from the air.
Yeah, well, I thought they were just going for a face ball, so I just shot out as quick as possible, and then it held up. It seems to hold up in the wind, so I thought I'll grab it.
I know usually you sort of get the plaudits more for your tackling and sort of taking the team forward, don't you?
Yeah, most of the time, yeah. I've been in the position I'm at the weight I am, but do my best.
And then, you know, like obviously this keeps sort of Crosfields right near top of the league. What's the general sort of feeling within the squad?
Feeling's good. I mean, we had a few bad games a few weeks ago, but we've started to pick it back up. Just hopefully now we get a good run in, and then push for automatic promotion. If not, we'll hopefully be in the playoffs.
I mean, that'd be really good, wouldn't it, for the club, because it's just been building over the last couple of years, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've been building for a few years now, and each year we seem to be getting better and better. So, yeah, it's all good.
Alex, thanks for joining us. I'll go and let you join these celebrations again, pal.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show, discussing the greatest game at all grassroots levels.
So there he was, Alex Clutterbuck, delighted with his score, and like I said, I don't think he's ever gone as far before, and from the sounds of it, I think he was even surprised, wasn't he?
Yeah, he certainly was. I've got to say that after the game, Crosfields head coach Rod Campbell said, "We worked hard leading up to this game and we deserved the win. It was always a concern missing Tom Millington, and then another prop, Tom Brown, after 5 minutes with a nasty gash on his chin after an accidental clash of heads. But Elliot Licku and Matthew Barber put in a double shift today and were awesome, along with hard-working back rows. We had 3 tries disallowed for forward passes, so the score could have been higher. We had a game plan, we stuck to it, and it worked. It's great to see a healthy touchline as well. We play better with more spectators. We upped our game." Rovers head coach Liam Lawton said, "We were our own worst enemy with some unforced errors that allowed Crosfields to build up a healthy lead, but then in the last 10 minutes of the first half we started to play as we know we can and narrowed the gap. Half time came at the wrong time for us, and then after the break Soap scored a couple of early tries that put the game beyond our reach. Can't fault the efforts of the lads as they kept going for the full 80 minutes, but you have to give credit to Crosfield, who were very good and deserved to get the win." That probably did sum it up. They only started getting going the last sort of 15 minutes, because during the commentary I said this could be a blowout. They needed the amount of times I said they need to be next on the score sheet, and then it was Crosfields, and then it was Crosfields. But when they did it back and got that momentum, you said at the time that they're on a roll now, and then they were. Lawton nailed it there, didn't he, when he said half time came at the wrong time for them.
It did, yeah, because at that particular time I think it got back to 18-24.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were really, really within the game. Just to sort of like do a bit of housekeeping on this. So fullback Tarpey scored 2 tries for Crosfields. Harry Files, as you heard, went over for his 12th of the season. Youngster Brinley going over about 6 minutes from the end there. 4 goals from the boot of Lawton. And then for the Soap, Ben Steele, Brad Stanway, 3 tries from Luke Walker, Clutterbuck with that long range effort, and Lomax with another interception, and 6 goals from the boot of Brad Stanway. So that eventuated a 40 points to 24 win for Crosfields and a double once again over their local rivals. The other game in Division 1, I wasn't expecting this result, so this was an amazing performance, to be honest, from Clotface Miners. They defeated Dewsbury Moor Maroons by 22 points to 18. It was only 16-12 at half time, and I think there's a real reason that they got the win. And I'm going to just read the try scorers out, because the lads that we've mentioned when certainly Clotface have been on the crest of a wave. Geraghty with a try and 3 goals, Cresser with a try, Hunt with a try, Jones with a try. I think getting those 4 players out on the field has really, really helped Clotface Miners' cause, because they have had a lot of young players. There's been a lot of chopping and changing throughout the season there. But I think with that result, they're certainly starting to look up now. They're now level on points with Stanningley and Hull Dockers at the bottom end of that Division 1 table. So you've got Skirlaw who are bottom with 6 points, and then you've got Clotface on 9, Hull Dockers on 9, Stanningley on 9. All is to play for over the remaining 5 games as far as they're concerned. The win for Crosfields, that keeps them in 3rd spot. They're now 3 points clear of Innsrose Bridge, Dewsbury Moor Maroons, Ulton Raiders and Wigan St Pat's. Yes, it's that tight amongst the rest of them. Waterhead and Lee Miners Rangers are top of the league, 1st and 2nd respectively. And if we look at what's happened in the Premier Division, a fascinating weekend of results. So Heworth 16, West Bowling 24. Great result there for Bowling, who just nudged themselves out of the relegation places for perhaps the first time this season. The Villagers, they had tries from Harley Axe, Richmond and Briggs, with Jack Potter kicking 2 goals. Meanwhile, Bowling, they had tries from Barrett, Lum grabbing 2, the veteran Brambani scoring a try, and Williams kicking 4 goals. Lot Lane came up with perhaps the result of the round here, and it took a last-minute goal from Fozzard. So after 7 games this season, Lot Lane were looking like they were staring relegation in the face.
I think we mentioned it, Parky, didn't we?
Since then, they played 12 games. They've won 8 of them.
Wow.
I mean, that is a complete turnaround. Yeah. That is like top four form, never mind, relegation. Yeah. And that has seen Lot Lane move up from bottom spot to 6th. So currently they're in the playoffs. If these results continue, then they're going to go some, and they're playing really well. So Purdy scored a try, Price scored 2, Kia, Matamosi and Butler grabbing tries for Lot Lane. Fozzard kicking those 5 goals in the end. And for Hunslet, they had tries from Tyler Dargan, who grabbed a hat-trick, Dodd, West and Clark getting a try each, with Jordan Gale kicking 4 goals. It was a really good comeback for Hunslet. It was a last-minute penalty for Fozzard, which won the game, to be fair, for Lot Lane. Kells are at the wrong end of the league, so they suffered a 50 points to 16 defeat at Rochdale Mayfield. So Devlin Long, McDade scoring a couple of tries, Dakota Tolhurst scoring 4 for the hosts, with Connolly scoring 2 and Park kicking 7 goals. Kells, they had tries themselves through Starkey. Nice to see him back out on the field. He travelled with the Community Lanes under-17s.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because of an arm injury, couldn't play any of the games.
Yeah.
So I do know that he was having it seen to once again, and he was hoping to get the all clear, but unfortunately it came a little bit too early for him to play for England Community Lions. But great to see him on the score sheet and getting over for a try there. Sykes and Chambers also scoring, with Don Weir kicking 2 goals. You go in some, if you Siddle at the moment, 106 points to 0. They defeated Egremont. Egremont travelled with only 14 fit players, and there's only 14 fit bodies in the club at the moment, and they put up as tremendous a fight as they could, but ultimately Siddle are playing on a different page as far as class goes this season, aren't they? So McCallum scored 2 tries, Walsh grabbed 4, Hosty grabbed 3, Turner grabbed 3, Greenwood grabbed 2, Harvey Williams grabbed 2, and there was 1 try each for Ackroyd, Ramsden and Rushworth, with Hosty kicking 15 goals. Now, maths has never been my strong suit, to be honest, Steve. This is why I'm broke. But 42 points for Hosty. Wow.
It's huge, that, isn't it?
What a performance from him. And then that's all Crusaders coming up with a tremendous result at home against West Hull. This one was only 8-6 at half-time. It finished 28 points each. So Crusaders, they scored tries through Dickinson, Horton, Crean, Dudley and Phillips, with Leicester kicking 4 goals. In response, West Hull came up with tries from Lennon, who grabbed 2, Verity, Wilson and Jones, with Wilson kicking 4 goals. And the other outstanding game in the Premier Division Well, that saw Wathbrow Hornets repeat their Challenge Cup exploits by winning 24 points to 6 at York Acorn. Acorn scored a try themselves through Coleman and Chilton converting, but ultimately it was the Hornets that were too strong on the day, thanks to McCourt, McConnell, Caddy and Moore scoring tries, Walker Taylor kicking 4 goals. Into Division 2, and there was a big win for Dewsbury Celtic, defeating Ellenborough Rangers by 44 points to 18. And you've got a little bit of a write-up on this.
I have, yeah. Ellenborough went down to a 44 points to 18 defeat at Dewsbury Celtic after they had led 18-4 had led 18-4 half an hour into the contest. Tries from Kevin Holborn, Andy Austell and Toko Okasina, all converted by Keenan Winter, have put Elba in good shape. By half-time, Celtic had closed to 18-16, and in the second half they scored 28 unanswered points. Ellenborough coach Paul Gorge said, "We played really well for half an hour and looked as though we were going to win comfortably. But I'm afraid the wheels came off, and in the second half we just didn't defend well enough. In the end, it was our biggest defeat of the season and emphasised that we're really in a relegation battle."
Just to add a little bit of parity to that, for Dewsbury Celtic, Yarrow scored a couple of tries. Hurst, Teal, Thompson, Whiteman, Mitchell and Clayton completing their scorers, with Paul Fulston kicking 6 goals. So yeah, that's some second half that for Dewsbury Celtic. A win that puts them third in the table and certainly leading the rest of the pack behind the promoted 2 of Shawcross Sharks and Wigan St Jude's, who both of which won. Shawcross had a difficult afternoon against Oldham St Anne's. They led by 16 points to 8 at half-time, eventually completing a hard-fought 22-14 success. For the Sharks, Jordan scored 2 tries, Winrow and Sheard with their other try scorers. That man Tomlinson that we often talk about on the show, kicking 3 goals. Meanwhile for St Anne's, Chatterton and Ladd scored their tries, with Richard Pogson booting 3 goals, but it was never to be quite enough at Dewsbury, as Shawcross won through in that one. And Wigan St Jude's, well, they also had a big result. They led by 28 points to 12 at half-time against Normanton Knights. Had scored tries through Parkinson, Dugdale, Cassidy and Garrido with 2, with Matthews, Palmer and Aaron Smith adding further tries. Cassidy also booting 8 goals. Meanwhile for the Knights, Joe Crossland and Biscombe grabbed the tries, with Barker adding 2 goals there. So they're playing some good stuff at the moment, aren't they, Wigan St Jude's? Can they close the gap? The point difference between these two, by the way, is something to behold. So Shawcross have a points difference of plus 416, Wigan St Jude's plus 414. But crucially, there's a 2-point difference with Shawcross having won 18 games compared with Wigan St Jude's 17. It's all going to go down to the wire of who gets that top spot, isn't it?
It does, but we've got to say congratulations to them both.
To both, yeah. Anyway, I did drop a message to Shawcross congratulating them on getting promotion. I know it was a little bit late to the party on that one, but I'm sure that they can excuse me for having been away fairly recently, and perhaps not keeping as regularly in touch with the league as one can when you're not in the country. So I sort of shot him a quick message saying, "Oh, well done, congratulations. Does this mean that my unofficial ban has been lifted?"
And what did he say, Parker?
No. Oh, it's such a shame. It's such a shame.
They're just covering all the bases.
I think they are, aren't they?
They want to try and take that title out before they turn around and say yes to you, I must admit.
Probably that's what it is, to be fair. Right, elsewhere in that Division 2, Myton Warriors 38, Pilkington Rex 18. A superb result for Myton, that. Slater grabbing 4 tries, Ward grabbing 2, Sanderson, well, he scored a try and kicked 5 goals. Meanwhile for Pilks Rex, Napa scored a try, didn't kick any goals this week. That was left to O'Connell, who booted 3, and there was 2 tries from Kenny as well, but it was never to be enough with Myton Warriors winning that one 38 points to 18. There was an altogether closer affair over at Thornhill Trojans. They just about came through to win 16 points to 14 against Saddleworth Rangers, who were looking like they're running out of games to me now at the bottom end of that division. So the Trojans, they had tries from Lee, Ratcliffe and Ward. Ratcliffe also kicking 2 goals, by the way. They proved to be quite important in the final outcome, to be honest. Meanwhile, Rangers, they scored tries through Dodd and Enziano, with McManus kicking 3 goals, but it wasn't to be enough. Thornhill Trojans 16, Saddleworth Rangers 14. And then finally, we saw a fantastic game between Millom and Barrow Island. So I've got a little bit of a match report from this one as well. So, skipper Sam the Man Jones sealed a vital 18-16 victory at Millom with a late penalty goal. The win takes Barrow Island into 4th bottom position in the Conference 2nd Division. They leapfrog over their Cumbrian neighbours as both teams' survival bids continue. It was nip and tuck throughout, with Millom taking a 6-0 lead with a try from Connor Terrell converted by Lee Postlethwaite. The Island drew level with a Josh McBain try converted by Jones to make it 6-6 at half-time. Rio McQuiston then edged the Woolleybacks back into the lead with an unconverted try at 10 points to 6. Josh Blinkhorn crossed for a try minutes later, with Postlethwaite adding the goal for 16 points to 6 in favour of Millom. Island, though, were not to be outdone, and they came back with a Seth Woodend try at 16-10, prior to Finn Dutton touching down for Jones to level the scores 16-all with a conversion. And it was the boot of Jones that secured the points and revenge for a defeat in the home fixture with the Woolleybacks. So several things there. I feel like I've just been reading off a whole list of players that I know fairly well. Yeah. So I was recently away with Seth Woodend, so great to hear that he's back in the first team for Barrow Island. He's a promising lad, him, because he's played in the under-17s. So he's playing regular Division 2 Conference League Rugby League at 17 years of age.
He's getting acclimatised there, isn't he?
He definitely is, yeah. He's certainly learning his thing. He's learning his craft there, shall we say.
His trade, yeah.
Josh Blinkhorn, fresh from being a success in Serbia, crossing for a try. Rio McQuiston, fresh from a spell in Australia, back on the score sheet again, back doing what he does for his hometown. And Connor Terrell as well, who I've spoken to in the past.
That's
He's played for Scotland, also played professionally for Barrow. Great to see him, back doing what he does. And of course, it would be remiss of us not to mention Lee Postlethwaite, as I usually do on this show, with kicking goals, and Sam the Man Jones as well.
Yeah.
So 2 guys that I went to Fiji with many years ago. So it's like Parky reunion, that one.
You want to see Parky's as a passport. The amount of RFL stickers it's got on there.
Now, to be fair,
I'm Barla.
To be fair, Dave Blinkhorn has been saying it's all right. You're going to all these places, Parky, but when are you going to come up to Millom?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we've got to get up to that neck of the woods, haven't we?
Next season.
Yeah.
It'll come, Dave. Don't worry. We'll get up there. We will get up there. Right, so that was the action completed from Division 2. Division 3, 3 fixtures took place at the weekend. Dissington defeated Bentley by 30 points to 6. Good result that at home, wasn't it, by the way?
Report on this as well, Parker.
Excellent. So let's hear that report then, Steve.
Yeah, Dissington beat Bentley 30 points to 6, as Parky said, to stay joint top with East Leeds, but they do have a game in hand. Dissington was 16-0 up at half-time, and although Bentley scored first in the second period, Dissington settled and ran out comfortable winners. The Dissington tries came from 2 from Brandon Walker, Scott George, Stephen Conway, Brian Ritchie and Jamie Friel, and George kicked 3 goals. Coach Aidan Worthington said, "Our defence in the first half was excellent, and overall it was a very good win. When they scored first in the second half, we had to settle down and get some composure back, and then we took charge again. That's 1 down and 3 to go to win the title." So final score there, Dissington 30, Bentley 6.
Just to complete the housekeeping there, Bentley's try came courtesy of Richards. The goal came courtesy of Croswell. So, good win that for Dissington though. And they're going head-to-head and toe-to-toe, aren't they, with East Leeds at the top of that league. And let's hear about how East Leeds went on as well, Steve, because you've got a report on that as well, haven't you?
East Leeds 54, Seaton Rangers 10. That keeps them top on points difference. Seaton brought in some old boys to help out after going 10-0 behind early. They were level after 20 minutes. By half time it was 20 points to 10, and Seaton gradually ran out of steam in the second half. Seaton coach Gus Fraser said, all things considered, it wasn't too bad. The lads were really having a go and were still in it at half time, but 2 quick tries in 5 minutes after half time killed us. We tired towards the end of the game and let in some soft tries.
Dover and Surtees scoring the Seaton Rangers tries with a goal from Blanco Charters. And then for East Leeds, there were 7 goals from the boots of Littlewood, and try scorers there were Edwards, Keedy, Wood, Railton with 2, Price, Duckworth, Wilson, Russell and Mullen. Another big win, that one for East Leeds, and they stay top with a massive point difference now of 367. That's almost worth 2 points on its own, isn't it, to be honest with you. They're just leading ahead of the rest. And then the other fixture that took place, Milford came up with a great result at home against Lee East. So East scored tries in the first half through Bernard Abogai and Prescott, with Aspinall kicking a goal. They actually led by 10 points to 0 at the turnaround, but what a turnaround it was in the second half for Milford, who came up with 18 unanswered points. Jones Bishop, Meek and Tasker going in for tries. Goal split between Kaywood, who kicked 1, and Payne, who added 2. So currently Milford third bottom, but again with a game in hand, they'll fancy perhaps a late season surge for a top 6 spot. All to play for in Division 3. Let's look ahead to the fixtures this weekend, shall we, Steve? So all the action starts in the Premier Division. Heworth hosts Siddle. Hunslet are at home to Egremont Rangers. Wathbrow Hornets take on Fattor Heath Crusaders. West Bowling take on Lock Lane. This game being played, by the way, at Odsall Stadium.
Yep.
They're expecting a big crowd, are they?
They are now.
You definitely are, yeah. Now we give it a shout out. West Hull are hosting Kells. York Acorn at home against Rochdale Mayfield. So, again, there's some interesting fixtures there, isn't there, in the Prem?
Yeah, but I've always said, and I think they mentioned it last season, this should happen more often, where one of these games are played at, sort of rugby grounds within the area where the teams are based. That would be great, pre-match as it were.
Is it pre-match? I've not even looked.
It's 2 p.m. kick-off. So.
Yeah, I've not looked. Well, that's a normal sort of like community game kick-off, that, to be honest.
But even so, I think that's what should be given the opportunity.
Got me looking now.
Yeah, I mean, because we let the juniors play at half time, don't we? And sometimes the ladies' game is played beforehand.
Well, Bradford are at home, but they're playing against Featherstone on Sunday.
Ah, right.
So it's not before the men's game, Now whether it's sort of amidst a whole day of rugby league that's happening down there, if you know, let us know.
Yeah.
I feel like I've let people down there and not knowing.
I think that would get more eyes on the game. If as I say, we see the junior sides play lots of times, so we know the colours of the kits. Do you know what I mean? For a lot of these local sides, so it's a great occasionally, say maybe once, twice a season, to see a game taken, to be played before a main game.
Division 1, and our feature game over on our Mixler channel this weekend features Lee Miners Rangers against Waterhead Warriors. So it's a clash of the top 2 in Division 1. Win, and Waterhead Warriors will fancy their chances of going up as champions. Lose, Lee Miners Rangers close that gap. They'll go level with them on points, but as I mentioned with East Leeds, the point difference that Waterhead actually have at their expense.
It's bigger, isn't it, than
493.
Yeah,
but even so, they put themselves in with a chance, don't they, then, with sort of 4 matches to go thereafter. So there's plenty to play for over at Twist Lane, and I'm really looking forward to being there for that one, Steve. Also, other games happening in Division 1. Clotface host Introse Bridge. Dewsbury Moor Maroons are at home against relegation-haunted Stanningley. Hull Dockers are hosting Wigan St Pat's, and CARLA, meanwhile, they host Ulton Raiders. In Division 2, Barrow Island, they'll keep on going with their survival bid, but they're at home against Wigan St Jude, so that's going to be an interesting clash for them. Ellenborough Rangers are at home against Myton Warriors. Thornhill make the short trip over to Normanton Knights. Meanwhile, Dewsbury Celtic are over at Oldham St Anne's. Pilkington Rex host top of the table Shawcross Sharks. Saddleworth Rangers, they're at home to Millham. That is again another one of these relegation sort of 4-pointers, isn't it? You know, so that should be an intriguing clash. And then in Division 3, we've got Bentley hosting Driglington, Hensingham hosting Seaton Rangers in something of a Cumbrian local derby, and Lee East have the visit of the second place Dissington side to contend with, so that's going to be interesting as well. So loads and loads to play for here, isn't there, Steve?
Oh yeah, it seems like every game has got some significance in one way or another, hasn't it?
Well, that's us just about done and dusted for another week, isn't it, Steve?
Another long one, Parky.
Thank you so much as always for bearing with us. Thank you so much as well to Steve, who does his best to make me sound like I've got a broadcast voice every single week. Well, if you're over there at Twist Lane on Saturday, I'll certainly see you there.
Every tackle, every try, every scrum. Green Cooling is proud to be part of the Community Rugby League family.